Welcome everyone. In this video, I'll show you how to use the new depth range mask in local adjustments in Lightroom CC version 8. The depth map allows you to perform local adjustments on just portions of your image based on how close or how far away portions of your scene are from the camera. So with this depth mask, I can easily, for example, darken the background. If you look at the photo, as I turn this off and on, you'll see that I've very effectively done that, and I've done it very quickly. Before I get into the how-to, I'll give some of you the bad news that this will only work at this point for photos captured with specific iPhones. These iPhones capture the depth information. First, they have to be shot in the HEIC format. Second, with one possible exception, they have to be shot with an iPhone that has the dual cameras. Right now, that means the 7 Plus, 8 Plus, and 10, and soon to be released, the 10S and the 10S Max. The one possible exception is the soon to be released 10R. That doesn't have the dual cameras, but apparently Apple is able to capture that depth information anyway with a software algorithm. That remains to be tested and proven by Adobe once the 10R is released. If you have one of these cameras and you want to capture the depth information, if you use the iPhone's native camera application, set the mode to Portrait to capture that depth information. If you use the Lightroom CC application camera, then as I'm recording this at the end of September 2018, you have to enable a technology preview to capture the information. You'll go into Settings, and then Technology Previews, and enable the Depth Capture Preview. Then, within the camera, you'll set the mode to Depth. Now if you're watching this video significantly later, it may no longer be a technology preview. The depth option in the camera may be available to you straight off. Once you've captured and imported a photo with the depth information, then you'll find the depth mask available in the graduated filter, the radial filter, and the adjustment brush. I'm in the graduated filter. I'll click on Reset. Now with any of these local adjustment tools, you'll first draw a filter or paint a location as the starting point for where you want your adjustment to apply. For example, with the graduated filter, I could say only work on this portion of the image. In fact though, I'm going to hit delete and I'm going to have it affect the entire image. So to the right here, I'll click and drag so that the filter applies to the entire image. I'll type O for overlay so that you can see that that's in fact the case, and O again to turn it off. Now I'll come down to Range Mask and I'll choose Depth. If depth isn't available, either you don't have an HEIC file with depth map information, or you haven't yet drawn your filter or painted with the adjustment brush. I'll check Show Depth Mask so that we can see it as I'm working. Range goes from close to the camera on the left to distant from the camera on the right. I'll slide the left slider to the right to just select distant elements in the photo. Smoothness affects how harsh or how soft the edge is on the mask. Now I forgot to explain some things about the mask. For this explanation, I'm going to choose a range in the middle ground, and then I'll reduce smoothness. Now what's white in the mask is the foreground, what's closest to the camera. Then as things become gray, they're further away from the camera, and black represents the background. What shows in red is what will be affected by your change. So it's the red part that we're focusing on as we refine range and smoothness. I'll do Controller Command Z a few times to get back to where I was. Now another way to work is to turn Show Depth Mask off and then hold down the Alt or the Option key as you slide one of these sliders. That gives you an alternative preview. White is on, meaning white is affected, and black is off, unaffected. Now I'm going to go back to having this effect the entire image, not just a range, to show you that another way to work, instead of jumping to the sliders, is to start with the eyedropper. I want to affect distant elements, so I would either click in the background here or click and drag to identify an area. If I turn on Show Depth Mask, you'll see that I have in fact done that. Now this isn't like Color Range Mask where you can lay down multiple sample points. You can only sample one point or one area. I'll click back on the dock here to put the eyedropper away. Now that I've made my mask, I'll set whatever adjustment I want to make. I want to darken the background. So that's all there is to it. It's a great addition for those of us that do have these iPhones. Hopefully depth capture will be developed for Android devices as well. Now, as a final note, for those of you who may be interested, I'll explain to you in general terms how Apple is able to capture the depth or distance information. I want you to do an experiment. Hold one finger up in front of your nose, centered at your nose. Then close one eye, and then open it, and close the other eye, and open it. You'll see that the perspective is different between your two eyes. So they capture your finger in a different location. Now move your hand as far away from your face as you can and repeat that experiment. One eye open and then the other eye open. You'll see that your finger moves much less. So the more distant your finger is from your eyes, the less the movement is. A mathematician could calculate how far away your finger is from your face based on those two different perspectives and how much your finger moves. With the iPhone, the dual cameras represent your two eyes. They're two different points of view on the same scene. Now, I don't know how Apple can capture this for the XR with only one camera. I'll leave it to you to Google that. This concludes the lesson on Depth Range Mask in Lightroom Classic CC version 8. If you've enjoyed this video, please show your support by subscribing to my YouTube channel. If you're on my website, subscribe to my newsletter so that you hear about all of my free tutorials and tips, the latest Lightroom news, and my comprehensive Lightroom workshops on video. I'm Laura Hsu.